Imagine you pick up a new game for your Nintendo 3DS. You meet a couple of strangers online that join your party. After a few enemy encounters, you start hearing a distorted voice calling out in the distance. That's weird. You press on hearing that same voice, but this time you make out that the voice is calling for help. As you approach, your screen fills with static before the game you were playing is replaced with an image of a girl. But something is off. She acknowledges you. She interacts with your screen and speaks directly to you. You can see and hear the mysterious girl, but she can't hear you. She tells you she went to find this labyrinth deep in a valley, and as she leaned in to get a better view, she fell in. The players are able to use magic from what seems like something carried over from the game they were just playing. But no longer just playing a game, they volunteer to help this mysterious girl find her way out of the dangerous labyrinth. What makes this so interesting is the lack of barriers between the girl and the players. Your game console is a literal window into another world. It lets you chat with your group and interact with the girl as yourself. The girl is speaking to you, she's tapping on your screen, interacting directly with you. But because she can't hear you, you rely on your actions to communicate. It also gives her distance from your party, who are all trying to solve this mystery together. You're left wondering what kind of world she comes from, or why she was interested in coming here. But you aren't able to just start asking her questions. You can only listen to whatever small talk she wishes to share with you all. Your group chats amongst themselves trying to sort out their predicament. No one even knows what they look like to the girl. The party doesn't even know what they look like to each other, since they only just met. Each player has their own personality. Pokura comes off practical and analytic. Notakeshi is very casual and crass, and Lily is caring and shy. They're different enough to add their own unique input to any conversation. There's a really interesting dynamic. As you help the girl escape the labyrinth, everyone still has time to chat about their own lives outside of gaming. They'll give you tips on how to best engage with the game mechanics, but they also talk about what they ate for dinner, or give a bit of TMI taking a bathroom break while taking their game with them. The girl being separate from the game, she naturally acts with her own agency. She's cute and expressive. She'll make small talk with your group, slowly opening up to them about her motivations and her interest in magic. The game really sells the girl being the only real presence here. You can move freely, but she's the one collecting items and interacting with doors and elevators that you can't. She takes her own turns during combat, and when you reach a save point, you see her health recover separately from your parties. Then there's the mystery of knowing absolutely nothing about her. We know she was curious about this place, fell down, and needs to go up. The world is just another big mystery. As you work your way out of the labyrinth, you come across stone tablets warning about the dangers of magic. At the same time, the girl is learning powerful magic abilities while exploring the labyrinth. What motivates her to want magic so badly? Why does she show interest despite being warned by her people? What will happen once she returns back home? The more time you spend escorting her through the labyrinth, the more you learn about her. Still, she can't do anything without your protection. Beyond the Labyrinth takes place, you guessed it, in the Labyrinth. Your time is spent navigating and mapping out each floor as you slowly ascend out of the labyrinth and out of the valley. Each floor has dangerous monsters and light environmental puzzles. You navigate these beautiful, striking locations that feel ancient, overgrown, and larger than life. You get a sense of scale just by looking up and seeing the multiple layers and valley walls surrounding the labyrinth. Exploration is on a grid. As you explore, the bottom screen is automatically creating a map of the labyrinth. You get a generous amount of information just by walking and moving the camera. No need to awkwardly move down hallways or corners, you can clearly see your dead ends just to scratch that ADHD part of your brain. And with no random encounters, you can prepare and make an educated choice when to turn back or when to press on. There are still enemy ambushes, but you can listen for them or see them from different areas before you enter through a new door or turn the corner. None of the floors are too big or too complicated. You progress through each floor at a steady pace compared to some of the larger and more complicated dungeons of similar games I've played. Higher floors have simple environmental puzzles, like changing water currents or dropping down to previous floors to find new areas. Some areas have collectible items and secret walls. I definitely prefer the simplicity of Beyond the Labyrinth's areas. You unlock physical shortcuts by changing the environment or opening bridges that speed up navigation, but backtracking to heal or just to navigate areas is still extremely slow. There's a subtle change from the curiosity of setting out to explore a new floor to efficient navigation once it's fully mapped out that I really like about these kind of games. But it could have definitely benefited from having a run button or battle speed up to get around faster. I've played a lot of games with turn-based combat. It's kind of my favorite genre. There's a lot of games that put their own unique spin on what's usually a simple system, so the bar to impress me has become pretty high. Which is high praise for Beyond the Labyrinth for having a combat system that has impressed me and then some. Up to this point, nothing has been more engaging than the seemingly endless options Shin Megami Tensei's press turn system provides. Beyond the Labyrinth's combat system manages to rival press turn while being a great deal easier to understand. No need to memorize hundreds of spells or what status effects do. No need to take an educated guess on the strengths and weaknesses of over 1,000 creatures. Beyond the Labyrinth has simplified combat that doesn't sacrifice its depth. Your party and your enemies are one of 3 types: red for Roxas, green for Scizorium, and blue for Paperia. Get it? Rock is weak to paper, paper is weak to scissors, and scissors are weak to rock. The opposite goes that rock is strong against scissors, scissors are strong against paper, and paper is strong against rock. If the attack type is strong to the defending type, it deals 2 times the damage. If the attack type is weak, it'll deal half. The 2 mechanics that really make this system stand out are stockpile energy and charge count. When a unit on either side's weakness is hit, that damage is also stored as stockpile energy that matches the color of the weakness hit. The next unit of the same color as the stockpiled energy will absorb that energy as HP, so you need to make sure that you hit enemies' weaknesses when your party can benefit from healing. You do this by managing your charge count. Every unit has an attack order. The lowest order number will attack first, and all attacks will add to the unit's attack order. You can manipulate your turn order by charging your attacks. You can strengthen the damage of your attacks, as well as increasing your attack order by increasing the amount of charge. But there's a risk to everything. Enemies have access to the same kind of mechanics you do. High charge attacks deal high damage, but can give enemies multiple crucial turns before you get to act again. Enemies can charge their attacks and even add stockpile to heal their allies next in line. Even if everyone in your party was the same color, doing 2 times damage, there would be no one to take the stockpiled energy. Enemies would heal back all of the damage you just dealt. Beyond the Labyrinth's combat becomes all about managing you and your enemy's turn order while denying enemies a chance to heal as much as possible. Mastering this combat is not only important to make it through an individual fight, but the better your results, the longer you'll be able to explore the Labyrinth. So many RPGs let you heal your team back to full health after every battle either with healing skills or items, but in Beyond the Labyrinth, there are no potions. You can fully heal at save points and get a partial heal by finding healing spots, but the only other way to heal is by claiming stored energy in combat. With no other way to control when you can heal without putting yourself in danger, it forces you to better optimize combat and consider your health as well as the girls between battle. Stockpiled energy remains after combat, meaning you can carry them over into the next fight, or use an item that takes stockpiled energy of all colors and heals a party member. Items are found and scattered throughout the Labyrinth that are limited but abundant. All of the items of Beyond the Labyrinth are really interesting. They aren't just simple revives or healing items. All of the items still engage with the rest of the game's mechanics. There are items that delay your turn, subtract from your charge order, and even change your color. This gives you even more options to manipulate how you gain or deny healing from the stockpile. Early encounters can have you use an item to delay a turn, deal max charge damage to gain stockpile, then resume your previous party member's turn to recover that energy. Running from enemies is an option too, however you need to consider the girl. She can't run through enemies, and she has her own health bar to manage. If her health drops to 0, it's game over. In the small case I thought there was something to complain about, the game eventually corrected me. Protecting the girl's health is extremely important. At the start of the game, if her health was low, the simplest solution was to return to a save point. But I still had a problem with the enemy AI sometimes constantly targeting the girl, causing a few frustrating game overs. As you explore the dungeon, the girl learns magic that makes her stronger, while also building on the game's combat mechanics. Her first spell lets her cast a powerful magic attack that's added to and even multiplied by the amount of damage your party deals to enemies before her turn. So in order to maximize her damage, you need to look at how many impactful attacks you can make in a row before her turn. You can use items that switch a party member's contributions back and forth from adding to multiplying damage. If enemies are targeting the girl too much, she learns the ability to have party members guard her. Now, not only do you have a way to keep her from taking damage, but this also removes your guarding members from the turn order. Now you can manipulate turn order more freely, and even block stockpile energy from being made if the party member that's guarding is hit by a weakness. To get the most out of this system, you'll need to constantly swap who's guarding. Later in the game, you'll be able to do more complicated actions. You can remove any guards from the girl in an order that lets you heal, building up damage before the girl's attack turn. Then you can send someone back to guard the girl before the next enemy's attack. You can even change your colors and max charge attacks to remove an enemy before they can attack and heal. Damage previews are shown clearly on the bottom screen, letting you be extremely precise with how much charge to give your attacks. After all this, you think I'd be done gushing about all the small details that make this combat system so great. Well, I'm almost done, but not yet. All of these systems make it so each color combination of party members and enemies are unique. Enemy variety adds another layer on top of this already impressive system. Certain enemies have special abilities, my favorite being the crabs. When hit by a weakness, they'll change to the color of that attack. Some enemies can heal from stockpile regardless of color, have attacks that add to your charge order, or will put up a shield that greatly reduces damage when hit by a weakness. Others will have you inspect your surroundings that'll become stronger in lava or water. With all of these systems working together, you'll have a hard time finding a battle that won't leave you thinking how to best make use of each system. All of this depth comes without hundreds of attacks. Everyone, including enemies, only have one attack. There's no huge list of stats and equipment to manage. You gain experience and spend it on health and attack charge upgrades. Attack charge upgrades aren't just flat damage increases either. You'll be able to execute stronger attacks, but it'll be sent further in the turn order. You'll still need to engage with the same aspects of combat, you just get more options out of it. If you have trouble with any of the game's encounters, it's less a result of low experience points, and more about finding a better pattern of attack. It's about skills over stats. It's simple enough for anyone to pick up, while slowly building on your knowledge as you progress. Up to this point has been nothing but a glowing look at really interesting gameplay with an equally interesting premise. But when that story doesn't really go anywhere, you're just left with the gameplay. Taking care of this mysterious girl is a full-time job. After spending time clearing a labyrinth floor, you're greeted with yet another, and another, and another labyrinth floor. That would be fine with me if there was something to look forward to break the flow of gameplay. The party does get clued in on the dangers of magic, while the mysterious girl gains magical abilities, but nothing, and I mean nothing, progresses the story past that until the very end. I was getting burnt out just doing the same thing over and over. I wasn't itching to see what was around the corner because there was nothing, just another labyrinth floor. I think there were plenty of ways to tell a story while staying within the same scope of the game. There were interesting mysteries that never really came to a satisfying conclusion. Nothing was explored about the world or the girl's place within it. Nothing was explored about the barriers between this world and our own. The dangers of magic were implied by the writings in the labyrinth, and only shown at the very end. At pivotal points in the story, the girl gains new magical abilities alongside a tattoo on her body. These moments could have been expanded on. What if we explored shared visions of the girl's memories during these moments? That way we get an idea of what her life was like, and what kind of place she comes from. The story that is here is only a glimpse and nothing more. It seemed like the start of a greater story. Of course our time with the girl has to come to an end. We were only visitors peering through a screen after all. Being able to assist the girl at all was a reward. It makes sense that there's little for us to see after seeing the girl off to return to her life. We are from two different worlds to begin with. Part of me was disappointed I couldn't see more of the world, and another part satisfied I was able to see any of it at all. Sadly, the game itself is another world away for some. If you're reading the title of this video, or notice the party members' names, then you know the game was only ever officially released in Japan. Only ever fan translated by the user Nagato. There isn't much information online why this game was never localized outside of Japan. It was an early 3DS title, released not even a year after the 3DS. It seemed like it suffered from low sales. That combined with the fact that it was published by Konami, things start to make a bit more sense. This was right before that weird time where Konami started to pivot away from big budget home gaming experiences in favor of more profitable ventures, putting less time and money into AAA games, and instead making cheaper and more profitable mobile games and pachinko machines. I imagine after seeing the game's poor sales, the cost of translation, and having to give it an English dub, Konami just wasn't interested in publishing the game outside of Japan. It's a real shame not only because it makes the game less accessible to anybody who wants to play, but also because of game preservation. As an early 3DS title, it was willing to make use of the console's unique functionality. It used the 3D screen to break down a barrier between the girl and the player. It used the console itself as a medium to interact with her. It even used augmented reality cards packaged with the 3DS to have the girl interact with our world. All of these things can't be preserved one-to-one using something like an emulator. If you have an interest, I encourage you seek these kind of things out. You open yourself up to an entirely different world of music, movies, and games that are hiding in plain sight if you're willing to cross that language barrier. Don't let the passionate fanbase of translators' works go unnoticed and unappreciated. They put in so much effort to make something they love accessible to a new audience. Thanks to Nagato, we can play Beyond the Labyrinth at all. Beyond the Labyrinth was full of novel ideas. It was a match made for the 3DS, using the hardware to break down the barrier between the player and the game to tell an interesting story. It was a bit of a grind, but with combat that exceeded all expectations. It had a mystery that left a lot to be desired, but I was still left with a satisfying end. Sadly, the game didn't have the reception to bring it to the rest of the world, but eternally thankful for the fan support that reignites my passion to not only play the games brought to the West, but also those that never left Japan. Broaden what games you're looking to play, because there's great stuff if you're willing to put in the extra work to dig them up. Thanks for watching the full video. If you want to support the channel, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the video with others. You can find me at Ryan Beardy on social media, as well as Discord with links in the description below.